Do you like snacks? I like snacks. In this episode, I sit down with Josh Hillis, nutrition coach, and we get right into it. Snacks, that is. This guy got me fired up. Anyways, to support the podcast, head over to brickheadstrong.com and pick up one of these gym shirts so you can rep Brick Headstrong at the gym. That's brickheadstrong.com. And now, let's get to their episode. All right, Josh, how do I look?
You look great, bro.
Oh, thank you. Welcome to Reppin Fitness. This is our first time meeting.
It is.
Man.
It is. It's cool to finally meet you.
Yeah.
I've heard the legend.
Oh, yeah. Just get this out of the way. I'm not Andrew. He's not here.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been doing this a couple times now. I had Dean on as a guest. He told me he thought I was Andrew. I'm not.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's close. I mean, when I saw the video, it was hard to tell who was talking which time. It was.
Maybe a compliment, but if I was Andrew, I would have already had a centerfold in muscle fitness. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you could work for that, though. I mean, like, clearly you got the stuff.
You think so?
Right. I see that in your future.
Oh, man. You hear that? Josh thinks I could do it. That's great. Anyways. When you reached out last night, you told me, hey, listen, Brick, I know we haven't met, and I've been on a couple podcasts, but usually I'm interviewing with people that have read my book, know a little bit about me. So, yeah, I went and I checked out your Instagram. I did what you said. And here I was, looking at these posts. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you got to check out Josh's Instagram and see these. But basically, what was going on in that one video? I saw you were eating a cinnamon roll, but you weren't just eating it. You were seducing Brick with that cinnamon roll. The way you were eating it, it just was with intention. It just looked good. And now, all I can think about is cinnamon rolls. What are you doing to me? I tried to cut them out of my life. Now they're back in. What am I supposed to do? I can't eat a cinnamon roll, can I?
I think you probably can.
What?
If you can, like the issue is like the issue is rarely one cinnamon roll. The question is, can you stop?
What do you mean?
And a lot of the clients that hire me have like struggle with stopping. So I love that you noticed me seducing that cinnamon roll, because I was spending some time.
You were.
I was getting into that cinnamon roll.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we work on. Like part of what we work on is like eating like we're almost eating like we're a judge on a cooking show. Like be there, like get all of it, like enjoy it. But then also be able to stop when it fits our values to stop, and like develop, like practicing the skill of being able to sit with the disappointment of it stopping, right? Most people that hire me are either like struggling with like having treats just like every time they think about it, or when they're stressed out, or when they start they can't stop. And so the big thing is learning the skill of how to stop, how to, when you stop, being able to notice and name like the bodily sensations and thoughts and emotions that come up, and being able to sit with those for a little bit. Maybe setting a timer for how long you're going to wait before making a choice about having another one.
Interesting.
And probably doing something engaging while you're waiting.
Like what?
But like anything. Like could be watching some good TV. Could be scrolling on Instagram. Could be going for a walk. Could be going for some deep breathing. But it doesn't have to be that enlightened. It could literally be like scrolling on Instagram.
Oh, I got you.
But I want to be clear though. It isn't just a lot of people have heard about those kinds of things in terms of like, like stop eating dessert and then like distract yourself with something else. That can work, but it's a lot more powerful if we've developed the skill of being able to actually like be with that wanting without having to act on it. So I recommend people actually like notice and name that wanting and the thoughts and the feelings, the body sensations that come up with it, and being able to sit with that for a little bit before they go do something else. And then you go do that other thing. because you're human and
Right.
you need to do fun. Like it's cool to do fun things. Not entirely just like I can't be with that, right? Because if you always have to fix that, then there will be times when fixing it with Instagram isn't enough, and you have to fix it with food. We want to get to the point where it's like we can normalize. Oh, if I have a cinnamon roll, of course I'm going to want like 5 more.
Right.
Right? You need to stop while wanting more.
But man, that cinnamon roll, it looked good. Now,
It was good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
yeah, I saw. There was two. There was 2 on the plate, and then you took one away. Probably put it back in the fridge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had that one, and it looked great. But listen, we're gonna get back to that. But I gotta ask, you're a nutrition coach.
Yeah.
How'd you get into this?
Like originally I was a personal trainer. I thought I got into strength training because I was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Whoa, that's cool.
Strength training made a big difference for me in all the like when I was younger, I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Krav Maga and I was into that.
Nice.
Right? And strength training made a big difference for me, and I kind of thought that I was going to get into personal training and like work with martial artist, and like that's not who hired me at all. Everyone who hired me wanted to lose weight, so it quickly became clear that that my career was going to be about working with the nutrition side. And originally I worked with a company that had like a team of registered dietitians that would like give people meal plans, and the meal plans worked with some people,
Right.
but most people had a hard time following them.
What?
You know,
What were some of the struggles?
What
were the struggles?
Yeah, they were like, I know what to do, but like knowing what to do, I still can't do it.
Right.
And it really things really turned for me, put me on the trajectory that I'm on now. When I had a client who was like, look, Josh, like I know what to eat. Like, of course I know what to eat, but I can't stop eating at night.
Oh, I got that problem. Yeah. I was told it's okay because I typically will have Kodiak cupcakes. Are you familiar? Or actually,
No.
the muffins. They got muffins.
Yeah? Are they like protein cupcakes or something like that?
Yeah. Everything I eat, it's got to have protein. Is that okay? You think that's good? Or no?
So, well, okay. So 2 different questions here, right?
Right.
On one hand, there's like, is protein cool? Of course, protein is cool.
All right.
Protein
Yeah.
is it's the most satiating. So protein works for fullness at meals and between meals. It makes a bigger difference for fullness than any other macro. You've got like fat that makes a really big difference between meals, and carbohydrates that makes a really big difference at meals, but they don't flip flop. Like carbohydrates don't last as long between meals, and fat, the signal takes a long time to hit. So like fat doesn't make a big difference with noticing when full and stopping at meals.
Interesting.
And then you've got fiber that also works great for both. So, and then of course your strength training, right? You're getting those reps. So
absolutely. I lift a lot.
You need to have like the basic building blocks for your muscle. And so protein is super important. And so, and then for people looking, who like most of my clients are looking to lose weight more than like build muscle, it's really, really important for people to get enough protein while they're losing weight, because you don't want to lose muscle.
No. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, so you got to be getting the protein. You got to be getting a little bit of strength training. So protein is great that way. Protein is great for satiation. But kind of circling back to like, if you're slamming tons of Kodiak cakes, you're saying?
Yeah, Kodiak. Yeah.
So I have had clients that have had the trouble of like, they're like, oh, like I can't stop eating at night, and I switched like chocolate for these like protein bars.
Right.
And then they're having like 6, 7, 8 protein
bars.
Oh,
that's a lot.
Yeah. And like, so if you can't stop when full, I don't think it matters if it's like the healthy thing or the protein thing, or if it's some sort of treat, right? You're still feeling like you're not in the driver's seat with your eating. And you're still going to want to practice some skills around being able to like notice that wanting, and like how normal, how like human and normal it is to try and like soothe ourselves with food,
Right.
or like be with like enjoy delicious food, and we have to practice a certain amount of being willing to stop while wanting more if we're gonna have delicious food, and be able to stop when it fits our values to stop.
Interesting.
Right?
Interesting.
And I say when it fits our values to stop, because that's a thing you want to explore, and that's a different question from like stopping, like, quote, when I want to, right? Like, you know, I'll stop eating a pizza when the pizza runs out,
Oh.
you know, or like I'll stop eating chocolate chip cookies after the whole bag.
Oh.
But if I stop when I want, but like when it fits my values, is probably to have like 3 slices of pizza and stop, or like a couple chocolate chip cookies and stop. And so, and most of my clients have some version of like, they want to be able to have some of that stuff sometimes, and they want to be able to like, they don't want to feel driven by it. And so that's where these skills kind of come in.
Now, you mentioned values. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
That's a great question. Okay. I'm glad you asked that, because so all of the skills that I work with clients come from contextual behavioral science.
Oh.
And in contextual behavioral science, the word values is used in a really specific way that's different from the colloquial definition.
Okay.
What I mean when I say values is something kind of like a character strength. So like being wise or connected or playful or wholehearted, you know, like some kind of way you would describe yourself. And the test. So what I'm trying to create with clients is I'm trying to create the ability to make different choices in different situations, right? Where when they're stressed out, they're like, oh, I'm not going to have that chocolate chip cookie,
right,
to like
cope with that.
To cope, but I am gonna have that chocolate chip cookie when it's like when my kids bake it, right?
Yeah.
Or when it's like fun on the weekends with my friends.
No, that's a good cookie. That's a good cookie.
That's a good cookie, right? Yeah. Cookie with your friends is a good cookie. It's not all the same cookie.
No.
So what we're looking at with our values is we're looking at like, what's the way I would describe the kind of person that would say yes to the cookie with my friends and no to the cookie when I'm just stressed out. So the kind of so if someone's like, oh, I really want, my value is self-control, but coming from self-control, they always say no, then that's not the value that's a value that's too inflexible. Right? But at the same time, if that same person was like, oh, I want to be connected, then they're like, oh, you know what? If I was really connected to myself in that moment when I was stressed out, I would recognize that I was stressed and not that I, you know, and the difference between stress and enjoying the cookie. And at the same time, when I was with my friend and I was connected to my friend, I might have that cookie with my friend. So with that value, I would make a different choice in different situations, right? I would be able to see like, oh, that's the kind of person I want to be, the kind of person that does eat with my friends and doesn't eat with when I'm stressed. And so that's kind of like the test to see if that's a value that's conditionally flexible in a way that's going to be really useful for eating skills.
Wow, that's very interesting, because Brick, I'm not a fitness coach, right? I'm not a nutritionist either, but I like to help my friends because they're all on a fitness journey. I'm more of a fitness motivator, if anything. But besides that, I got a friend. His name is Pann Pann. You might have seen him. He's a panda bear. We had a conversation the other day about cookies. And my man, Pann Pann, he can't stop. He ate 1,000 cookies while we were talking. I couldn't believe it. So what I did is I took his cookies. I took them away. Y'all don't see Pann Pann, right? Pann Pann's not here?
I don't see Pann Pann.
All right.
Not here.
But listen, we're talking cookies. I brought one. This is his. It's a big one. Yeah.
Oh, that looks delicious.
Yeah, right. But
yeah,
Don't let Pann Pann know I had them. But listen, we're talking cookies, right? I didn't want him eating them anymore. Good idea? Bad idea? How can I help this guy?
You're trying to help your friend. You did what you know. Here's the thing. When I first start working with a client, some clients may find it useful to not keep their house constantly stocked with cookies when they're first starting, right? It might be easier to say, hey, you know what? Like, I'm having a hard time. Like I'm working on the skills, but it's kind of difficult. I'm going to keep the cookies at the store, and I don't have a rule about cookies. I'm still playing the game of I'm going to have cookies when it fits my values. But like when it fits my values to have a cookie, I'm going to go to the bakery with my friend and get it, right? Or I'm going to bake it with my, I'm going to go to the store and get the ingredients and bake it with my kids, right? And so they're putting in a little bit of friction that gives them a little bit of time to like check in with themselves, like what's going on and why do I want it? And then as they get better, then it can be easier to have the cookies in the house and be able to like in the moment be like, oh, I want cookies. I'm gonna set a 10-minute timer and I'm gonna use some of that time to check in and see what's going on with me. Maybe besides even just checking in with me, I'm going to zoom out and look at my day. Like, did my boss just yell at me, or do I have like a big deadline? And like get really clear. Like, oh, actually, I'm super stressed, right? Or like look out, like actually things are chill. It might be kind of fun to have a cookie.
Oh yeah.
And so when they've had enough practice to be able to put that in, then they can totally keep cookies at the house. But in the beginning, maybe they don't. That's a way we often start. Like we're looking for structures to make it a little easier in the beginning, but some people have kids, and the kids like cookies, and so they have to have cookies anyway, so they can't start there. But it's a valid place to start. But I don't think you have to take away Pann Pann's cookies forever. I think Pann Pann might need to do a little values work and like sort out like what Pann Pann's values are about cookies. Like maybe Pann Pann wants to have 200 cookies a day instead of 1,000.
Still a lot. And, that's still a lot, but I don't know pandas. I don't know pandas' nutrition.
I don't know pandas either. Yeah. I don't know pandas either. I'm just saying Pann Pann gets to say.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm not going to say, you're not going to say, Pann Pann gets to say. And I mean, I'm kind of joking. In reality, what I typically have my clients do is instead of sorting out, like I'm going to have X number per day, they're really looking at what are the conditions where I would have cookies and what are the conditions where I wouldn't. Like, oh, it fits my values to have cookies when I feel kind of relaxed, when I can like, I think you said seduce them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Seduction.
when I can really be present and eat them. And also when I can stop at whatever their reasonable amount is. Right. And they might say, oh, the conditions are, when I don't, it's like when I'm stressed out or when I'm emotional or when I just see it, like, I don't want to eat it just cause I walked by and saw it. Right. So it wouldn't be like a number so much as like Pann Pann figuring out what conditions Pann Pann wants to eat cookies and what conditions Pann Pann doesn't want to eat cookies based on Pann Pann's values.
Nice. Well, I'm going to have to follow up and see if I could fix the situation with Pann Pann because he doesn't really talk to me much. Really mad about the whole taking his cookies.
Going from 1,000 cookies to 0.
Yeah, I might
be mad too.
I gotta keep my eyes behind my head because he might come after me. All right, Brick's got a question. What's your favorite protein snack? Let us know in the comments. Brick's always looking for more food. Anyways, let's get back to the episode. Listen. I saw you wrote 2 books, right? Do you have a specific approach to meal planning and prepping?
The biggest thing I work with my clients on is just doing some planning. And the reason I say it like that is that planning can look a lot of different ways, right? I had a client who was super busy, but also like money wasn't an issue. So every single meal was ordered out.
Oh, that's a
right?
problem.
And she did great, right? So what we worked on with the plan was we worked on like, okay, what are the order like? You need to plan what you're going to order, right? You probably can't order everything. You probably want to pick places where it's easier to get something a little bit balanced. You want to pick the places where it's going to work for you and your values and your goals to order from, and you're going to want to figure out what that order is, and then you want to figure out like how much of that order it takes for you to get full, right? And what happened was she found out like, hey, some places I might need to order like double protein, and some places I might need to order like guac or sour cream, but not both.
Interesting.
Or like a lot of places she ordered from, like they send like a third more food than she needed, right? And so but that's plan. That's legitimate planning. Like knowing what your order at Chipotle is like that could be your plan. On the flip side, I've had a lot of people that planned what like a big thing that helps a lot of people is planning their dinners all week long. And we start with like what kind of flavor, what kind of cuisine is this meal going to be, and then like what's the protein going to be. And then we build everything around the protein and the cuisine, right? And we're like, okay. So, and what we're shooting for is a plate that looks kind of like Harvard School of Public Health's healthy eating plate.
That right? Course of 3? Is that like having a fistful of protein, a fistful of carbs, a fistful of fats? Is that how it works?
Pretty close, yeah.
How does it work?
It's like it ends up looking a lot like that, right? It's like you've got a plate and you get to say how much stuff is on that plate. But then on that plate, the Harvard School of Public Health plate looks a lot like quarter of the plate protein, quarter of the plate carbohydrates, half the plate fruit or vegetables, and then some healthy fat. And Harvard gets really narrow about what they consider healthy fat. I'm a lot looser, but paying some attention to how many servings of fat you're getting and maybe where it's coming from. And so you're looking at like pretty close to balanced carbohydrates and protein. So when you were talking about like a fist of protein and a fist of carbohydrates, that totally works. Nice. I don't do fists because I want people to have some like if people are shooting for that ratio, some of my clients have a lot more on their plate and some have a lot less. Like if I work with a dude that works construction, he's probably gonna have 2 fists of everything.
I was gonna say, have you ever seen The Big Show, the wrestler?
Oh yeah,
he's got a huge fist. I don't want to judge off of his. Yeah. Everybody's got different sizes.
Yeah, that'd be a real different plate.
Yeah, huge. Anyways.
Yeah. So something like that. But also, I also want to be clear, and that's kind of coming back to what we were talking about before. I'm not really talking. I mean, that works. Harvard School of Public Health has all the research on why that could work for health. Right. I'm mostly looking at like some balance of protein, carbohydrates, and fat and vegetable fiber, right, is going to work for both staying full at meals, noticing fullness at meals and staying full between meals. And that makes everything else easier. That makes it way easier to notice when a snack is just craving, when it's hunger. Like if we can take legitimate hunger off the table by having like a balanced meal and having enough food, then it makes it way easier to manage cravings. It's like we still have to work on skills for that, but it's a lot easier. So that's kind of what we're looking for with a plate balance. And so that's the other thing, because it's so pragmatic. It's just like all we're looking at is fullness. I don't care if someone comes to me and they're like, you know what, Josh, I actually feel more full with a little more carbohydrates and a little less fat. And someone else comes to me and they're like, hey, Josh, I feel more full with a little more fat, a little less carbohydrates. That's cool. I don't care because I just want them to feel more full.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, you mentioned your definition for healthy fats might be a little different than Harvard's. What's yours?
Yeah. I don't really have one.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like I try not to get to, so my like I'm going to school for psychology.
Oh,
My
nice.
thing is behavior. And so behavior is my jam. I don't really get into the weeds with like telling people what's going to be healthy for them and what's not. Harvard is very much into like plant oils and fish oil are like anything that's like things that are liquid at room temperature are probably, are kind of what they're looking for. So that's kind of their jam. Um, I don't get into the weeds with my clients about that a lot. I let them kind of do whatever, I've got clients that are like almost everyone has some version of what they think is healthy coming in. And I'm not necessarily looking to change that.
Right.
Does that make
No, that
sense?
makes sense. That makes sense.
I'm a behavior dude.
Yeah.
I stick to behavior.
Nice. So, you had mentioned fish oil pills. Now, what are your views on supplementation? Creatine, vitamins. Do you recommend anything?
So that's another one. That's another one of those things.
Too
where,
much?
Like, my
Too
clients,
much?
my clients typically come in like they're either supplementing or they're
Oh,
not, and I don't try and change that. The only thing that I get into is protein,
oh,
and that's because for some people, liquid protein isn't as satiating as whole food protein. And so if they're having, so I have some clients where they're like, oh, I make a protein shake for breakfast and I'm great until lunch. Now, and I get other clients that are like, oh, I have a protein shake for breakfast. And I say protein shake. I mean, like they're blending in,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe oats or something, like it's more than just protein. But they're like, I have a protein shake and I get hungry in 2 hours. Right. And so I just want to make people aware that sometimes liquid protein isn't as won't keep them full as long as if they had a whole food protein. But the flip side is also true. If they're trying to get in more protein and they're having trouble eating it, they're having trouble just like eating enough, then liquid protein is great because you can kind of always fit in more liquid protein. So it's one of those things where like in terms of like supplementing with like whey protein or vegan protein or whatever, can be really great. I just want them to be aware of how that may work for satiation and satiety. In terms of like creatine is great. If you want to take creatine, I'm all for it. I don't really I don't recommend supplements at all, but I'm not against
Oh,
supplements at all either. I'm just like people come in hyped about their supplements or they come in like afraid of supplement. Like I just don't even get into that. Again, my thing's behavior.
okay. So, I'm going to hit you with one then. Let's go with this. I feel like procrastination and emotional eating are pretty good friends, right? And that's a bad friendship. Bad friendship, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you handle setbacks or when people get into plateaus in their progress? Do you go back to the values?
So you threw me for a curveball. I thought you were going to ask about procrastination. Yeah.
I mean, kinda.
When people
It kinda is, right? Kinda is. Procrastination. That might be one of the reasons you plateaued or you set back.
for sure,
Yep.
right? Procrastination is a big reason. So, but we'll do setbacks first. If someone has a setback, are you talking about they're like, oh, I'm doing so well, and then like everything came apart?
Yeah, that's just like that. Or like I
Yeah.
had a cold. I had a cold for a week. What am I gonna do? I can't get motivated.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's funny you said that because a lot of my clients got sick last week.
Me too. Me too.
So,
I had it sick last night.
oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like something going around, right? Yeah.
That'll happen.
So the thing about being sick is like no one practices eating skills when they're sick. When
Right.
you're sick, you just like get through it, right? And everyone has trouble changing gears, getting back to it. Like everyone. That's fine. It's one of those things where like if you can just normalize like that you don't have to have a perfect nutrition while you're sick, and you also don't have to have perfect nutrition while you're like kind of getting back into it, then it's fine. It's actually like rock the chicken soup when you're sick or whatever, or crackers or whatever you can actually eat. And then when you're coming back, it's normal to have trouble changing gears, and like bring in a little self-compassion. Be like, dude, you felt sick for a week, and like maybe food wasn't appetizing, and like now you're kind of getting back to it, and you're not getting back to it like instantly. That's fine. Usually what we'll do is we'll take some of the easier skills, and some of the easier skills are like putting the fork down in bites, right? Or like pausing 10 minutes before snacking. And so maybe your first week after being sick, the only thing you do is at meals, you put your fork down in bites as a way to slow yourself down, make it a little bit easier to notice when full and stop. But you don't even worry about noticing when full and stopping. You just focus on putting the fork down in bites. And then we don't even worry about what you do after the 10 minutes when you have a craving. Just like put in 10 minutes between wanting and having. And maybe that first week back, again, don't even care if you have the snack after 10 minutes. Just like start putting in like that practice, that like being able to sit with the wanting for 10 minutes without having to do anything about it. And then that next week, we start putting in, more of the more difficult skills, like noticing fullness, or distinguishing stress from hunger, or distinguishing procrastination from hunger. But that first week back, put in some easy ones,
Yeah.
It's okay to ramp back up.
Yeah, I mean, if I was at your house last week, I would have eaten all those cinnamon rolls. They would have been gone. Yeah. I was feeling it. I needed something. I just couldn't get it going, But
being sick sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. It's not fun. Not fun at all.
No,
not
a fan.
No.
Yeah.
But I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying about making sure you take 10 minutes before you eat that food. Because I was just thinking about it myself. I don't know if I'd want it anymore. It'd be gone. I think I would just put it back if I waited.
Yeah, a lot of people find so like that. It's such a simple, like structural, clear thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people find that exactly what you just said, where they're like, especially if it's something like procrastination or
right,
where they're like procrastinating doing a thing. They like set a 10-minute timer, and like by the time 10 minutes rolls around, they like forgot.
Right, I would have forgot. I probably would have gotten to something else. Probably would have drank some water.
Yeah.
And probably started scheduling more podcasts.
Right. Right. Of course we do, right? And it's one of those things where like we feel like in the moment when we feel that craving, it feels like the craving is going to build.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. Gets me going. Yeah.
But what people find when they start trying that is that maybe half the time, maybe more, they actually forget. Like it doesn't just fade; it's like gone. And so super useful, super useful. And then even when it doesn't go away, it's still good practice to put a gap between wanting and choosing.
Wanting and choosing.
We'll make a mindful choice. We'll make a more like a smarter, more mindful choice, easier to make a choice based on our values, right? With a little bit of time.
I like that. Now, before I let you go, I need to know.
Yeah.
This book.
Yeah.
Where can I get your book?
Oh, yeah. What?
Tell me about your book. Where can I get it?
Oh, yeah. So the book is Lean and Strong, Eating Skills, Psychology, and Workouts.
Am I on the cover?
I didn't know you yet. I would have put you on the cover.
Bruh. Next time. We'll work it out.
It would have had Brick Headstrong flexing on the cover. Man. I mean, like
Lean and Strong.
If that's
me. That's me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, tell me about it.
I mean, if the sales I could have had.
Oh yeah.
Like
we'll get it.
It would have changed everything. If only I'd known.
Yeah, we'll get it next time. We'll get it.
I'll call the publisher. I'll see if
nice.
It's a second edition.
Yeah. Limited edition for people.
Yeah,
We'll charge like $1,000.
Yeah, get it like signed.
Oh yeah.
Maybe have some like Brick Headstrong sweat on the cover. Like make it legit.
Nice. Now we're talking. We'll get off air about that. But anyways, yeah, let's talk about the book.
So my book really gets into the research that underlies all this. If you really want to know, it does two things. One, it kind of like breaks all this down in terms of like plans you can follow. Like put these skills in this week, these skills this week, these skills this week. Like you're getting exposed to skills at different stages over a couple months. So you get a lot of practice with each skill, but it also, for people that are kind of interested, like, where did this all come from? It goes way into all of the research of like where this, like, the underlying contextual behavioral science, the like research on individual eating behaviors, the research on goal achievement. For people that like books that kind of do that, they'll totally dig it. And yeah, it won the Benjamin Franklin Silver Medal Book Award for strategy.
What'd you get? Did you get like a certificate or a medal? What did you get? Anything?
Yeah. I got like a. I should like frame that.
Yeah, you should. That's awesome. You should frame that.
I should. Yeah. Which I didn't get an actual medal. It's a metaphorical. It's a certificate.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's lean and strong. And then if people are looking for a program that's a little more streamlined, like just get me into doing this stuff, I don't care about the research, then I've got a program called Eating Skills.
Oh, nice. Where can people find that? Where can they connect with you?
My Instagram, Joshua Hillis.
Oh, nice.
At Joshua Hillis is the best place to do it. Is like the probably the best place to find me. I also have a website, joshhillis.com, nice. And you can find my book at Amazon.
Oh, cool. I'm going to put a link in the description. This way makes it easier. But cool. Before you go, I want to make sure I got this right, because I want to help Pann Pann get this down, and maybe there's a lesson in this for everyone. You're telling me
I'm in.
If he wants a snack, he wants those cookies, the tip might be, let's wait 10 minutes, see how you're feeling, and then put some intention into what you're eating. Is that what we're talking?
Yeah. I dig it. So, So tell Pann Pann, like, he wants to have those cookies, set a 10-minute timer. Inside of that 10 minutes, he might check in with like, hey, what's going on? Am I just stressed out about like something some other panda said?
Yeah, interesting.
Or do I really want these cookies? And then Pann Pann can check in with his values and be like, you know what? I do want to have some cookies right now, or I don't. And at the end of that 10 minutes, he'll have Pann Pann gets to choose, right? Hopefully Pann Pann makes a choice based on his values in that situation.
And hopefully everyone listening at home does the same thing too. So
yeah. Oh, one thing I would say for both Pann Pann and everyone listening at home is that I say the word skills because I actually mean skills. Like, these are all practices. These aren't things where like the first time you set a 10-minute timer, everything's going to go magically.
Oh, no.
It takes reps. It takes a lot of reps.
That's my favorite word.
Yeah,
it does take reps.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know.
I eat it. I sleep it. I go to the gym, and then I get my reps. But yeah, absolutely. Josh, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a guest.
It was great being here, Brick.
Well, like I said, thanks for watching Reppin Fitness. I gotta go. I gotta call Pann Pann and tell him about this 10-minute rule. That might help. Anyways, if you want more reps, go get them. All new episodes come out every week. Let's get those reps.